Stadium mechanic was introduced with the newest expansion of Fantastical Parade, and I'm here to say if we can get more of these, this will actually just change Pokemon Pocket forever. We have one here where it retreats the cost of each psychic Pokemon in play by 2 less, so let's see what other broken stadium cards we can find that will also do so well. So up first, we have this Sky Pillar. This prevents all effects of the opponent's attacks, including damage done to the bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. Quite honestly, I think this, like, people will clamor for this. This shuts down things like your Darkrai, it shuts things like Crobat, it shuts things down like whatchamaface, Dragonite or Ampharos because of the damage to the bench, but most importantly, it will shut down Greninja. And probably one of the biggest things about Greninja is that you're able to attack anywhere on the board and then Sire Sim up and then try to win the game from there. Being able to have this stadium out there says, no, you can't do damage to my bench Pokemon. And that works for both sides, right? But you're playing this as an anti-Greninja tech, since we're seeing Greninja literally everywhere and anyhow, and being able to safely put things onto your bench and without having to worry about that combination. And so having something like this is definitely will change the landscape of it, because it's just not free wins anymore when you see that, and you can safely build up your bench without having to be worried about that. So even though we can only have one stadium at a time, I really do think that something like this is much needed, rather than so that way we can just stop that. And let me know what you think of this first one. Then we saw, like, right, our peculiar stadium is boosting up psychic Pokemon, so why not boost up other types? So we have Force of Vitality here, just like Ship It, right? Each player's grass Pokemon can evolve into the grass Pokemon during their turn they play those Pokemon, except during their first turn. So after turn 1, after that, throw it out there, put the stadium on, boom, play them out there. What? That's just, we're just jumping stages immediately is crazy. So if I have, after my first turn, let's say just like I have Celebi up front, then I can just go, Celebi, Snivy, then Servine, Survivor, like, just right away. Superior, excuse me, I'm saying Superior, like, that's awesome, right? Like, just being able to evolve twice, or just evolve as soon as you put on the Pokemon card, right? Like, during the turn. The only question here is, like, would you, I guess you can rare candy into your stage 2 immediately, or if you have your stage 1s that are, like, really strong, then you'll be able to do that, right? Like, having your Bulbasaur into Ivysaur would be, like, a really cool thing to be able to do. Having this out and being able to go into Dartrix so that way you can go into your Decidueye the next following turn instead of waiting one turn for that is pretty nice. Playing and evolving on the same turn just feels really cool. Think boosted evolution Eevee, but for every single grass Pokemon. That just screams out, hey, these cards will do really well with it. And if you can evolve right away, so I feel like the evolve conditions is rare candy and hit that there, so, like, why not make that happen as well too? So that would be pretty sweet to see. We continue on this by adding in Surfing Beach. So once during each of your player's turn, that player may switch their active water Pokemon with one of their bench water Pokemon. Now you just don't have to play Greninja EX. There we go. Like, right, like, this is the stadium format for it now. Now you can play out any of these water Pokemon, and one of the things that, like, hurts water Pokemon is the fact that they have to have so much energy to attack, because of Misty, right? Like, it gets to, like, Misty, if you get lucky, you can ramp up pretty easily. So they've had to make water Pokemon still to this day up to that card. I wish they could just take that card out and, like, errata everything else, but we know that they won't do that. So having something like Stadium makes it much more flexible in terms of what you're trying to do. So therefore you're not totally nerfing the water Pokemon because they already have so much time to set up. So then you can be able to do things like this. Maybe this is what it takes to get, like, you know, you might want to play Mega Gyarados, and like maybe you might have some fun with some of these bigger ones because you're not so worried about the retreat cost and then not being able to attack again. If we can get something like, you know, our Peculiar Stadium, which allows you to have your retreat cost decreased by 2 less, why not be able to switch around for your, like, right, like your water Pokemon? And again, it's from water to water, so like there's still good conditions behind this one. Up next, we have our Steel Shelter. I really like this as well because it is just encompassing Steel Apron. So each Steel Pokemon, each Metal Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, can't be affected by any special conditions. I just thought this was a fun one. Being able to have this out there and then run another tool on top of it feels pretty nice. It does take away Steel Apron as a card, but again, you can take this stadium out immediately. You can't easily remove the Steel Aprons unless you're running Guzma, right? So there are like cards that like play into factors here in terms of like, oh well, this will power creep this or this will power creep that. And it's a game Pokemon Pocket has power crept itself out when it releases other Pokemon, so it really wouldn't surprise me if they put this into the game as well. And if they did, Steel types just have another defensive tool here, right? Or defensive stadium. That's what Steel is really all about. You're taking away the damage being done, you know, like the -20, the -50 that Jasmine's doing, the new tool that was in the trailer that does -50, but then that tool goes away, and now we have Steel Apron. So that way you get affected by special conditions, but then it's the -10, and this is just focusing on just a special condition. So you still might run the Steel Apron to reduce the damage, but I really like the fact that this covers all of them, and it's just focusing on the special conditions to continue to boost the longevity and the health of your Steel types. Imagining this with a Steelix that can then run Mega Steelix EX that can then run Heavy Helmet no matter what, that's pretty tanky. You're attacking, you lose your weakness, now you're taking -40 per turn, plus a Steel Shelter, hard beast to take down. We continue into our Stormy Mountains. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Lightning Pokemon or basic Dragon Pokemon and put it onto their bench, then that player shuffles their deck. It's a twofer. I really like this. We have special conditions, we have switches, we have evolutions, and this is all about filling up your deck here, right? So it says you may, so if you don't want to fill up your bench, you don't have to, and that's something that I really like, right? Like you can choose if you would like to or not, but this like Stadium definitely helps you out with just drawing into your cards. Or, you know, like searching and thinning out your deck is always helpful. And then like maybe we'll see a deck where it's like Magnemite, Dragonite, right? Like, and like you run only water because you're guaranteed to get your Magnemite, you're guaranteed to get your Detini, your Clemont can get you your Magnetons, and then you just, at that point, like, you just need to draw into your Dragonite EX and just attacking from there, but like, this allows you to do that. So, being able to thin out the deck is always helpful in a 20 card deck, and then being able to put it directly onto the bench so that we can start piling up the energies as you need to is super important. And I really do like the key here, may, right? Like it's gonna pop up yes or no, so that way you have that choice. You don't know what comes next, it just pulls out a basic, you choose one. I see that in the UI, pick one, put it onto the bench there, and you go. If it were in Pocket, you can change, like, instead of search, put a random, like, basic Lightning and basic Dragon, and then you can then make that more specific, right? If you have a Pokeball and then you do the Stormy Mountains, you know what's coming out, you know what's left in your deck as well, too, so you can play around with that. We also have basic Electric and Dragon that would like be really cool to see. Searching for an Oricorio or a Zeraora could be really annoying. Raikou might make an appearance again. You have like just like basic Dragon types as well too that like EXs that could serve really well. So this would be really fun to see. Now on the other hand, this one might not. This this one might not. Basic dark type Pokemon in play have no retreat costs. Now this may get spicy. It doesn't say only EX. Okay? Doesn't say Megas. It just says basic dark type Pokemon in play have no retreat costs. So that is your and that is your Mega Absol or your other Absols, right? Like those have been getting into play. You have your Darkrai that gets into play. Those cards have been seeing already, but like being able to add in something like this where they can play around for free, it will be pretty good. I think this is a huge boost to Darkrai EX specifically because of that 2 retreat cost, and like that's the basic dark type that we're seeing. But you can now like look back and just see what other mons are there and like what can you have a lot of fun with, because you don't have retreat costs. So like make it happen, build it up. You can attach the energy and not be afraid that it's gonna go anywhere because you have this stadium out there and you're moving around. So if we are gonna go crazy, which we are, with second Pokemon here with this peculiar stadium, you definitely can go crazy with something like a Dark City. And I do like the trade-off here. It's 2 less for the peculiar plaza, right? Because it's any psychic Pokemon, but whereas here for a free retreat cost, it has to be basic, and I just like that differentiation between them. So now we stray away from just typings to looking at just kind of like in general, and this could be pretty sick as well too. Each basic Pokemon in play gets plus 30 HP. It's just a nice little booster, right? Like the little lively stadium, that's fun. I see this as like this would change the mapping of like what your basics can do. Currently right now, there are Pokemon who can knock out your basics immediately, right? And that's one of the stronger points of like being able to draw them. So now you have to play around of thinking of like, do I need to add in extra damage because of the stadium? Obviously you have to pull the card in order for the effect to happen, but since it hits both sides, you just elevate that floor just a bit more and really making things like stage 1s and definitely get into your stage 2 that much more stronger. But of course, having your basic EXs and like this being a piece in here could be really sweet. Like this lively stadium with the new Mega Mawile EX could be really cool because it goes from 170 HP to just 200 HP, and since that damage just attacking it, stacking with the heals, that extra 30 HP with a giant cape on top just feels really great, right? That's an extra 50, so could be cool with that. Don't know how I feel about Mega Absol being able to get something like this, but this could be pretty sweet. Maybe Mega Pinsir EX might have more of a chance to like do some things because it just has that extra bonus, even though it has to have 3 energy to attack. This could like, that 30 HP goes a long way because with the cape you can add another 30, and now you're looking at, you know, as I'm talking through this, your Mega Pinsir being at 230 HP. Would you now play that card? I absolutely would. So then last card here is our practice studio. So the attacks of stage 1, both yours and your opponents do 10 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon. I just thought, why not show some love to stage 1s? We are finally starting to see some impactful stage 1 Pokemon, right? For the longest time, obviously Magneton, just because of its ability to draw and just being able to be flexible with Magnezone. And then you currently now have, right, Ivysaur, and you have your Charmeleon. Now we can get a little fancy with it to have your stage 1s, those like middle grounds, be better. But then this also might just be scary for those stage 1 EXs, right? Just get them a little bit boosted, because get them a little bit boosted, get them a little bit of attack. I'm thinking about Mega Altaria EX. It goes from 130 to 140, and that's one-shotting a lot of these Pokemon, so that could be a little scary. But this could breathe new life into stage 1s for stage 2 Pokemon, and really just want that to take an effect. Yes, we have the drawbacks, which is why we said that these cards would change Pokemon Pocket forever, but it would also give the benefits so that way you would want to play more stage 2s, but include those stage 1s instead of just rare candies, so that way you have that extra damage and really kind of thrive off of that. But let me know, y'all, for those of you who have seen stadium cards, what kind of stadium cards are you looking forward to seeing and hoping that we get with this first set, or even as more sets go along? If it's any of these, let me know down in the comment section below. I'm super excited to be able to play with Peculiar Plaza and can't wait to just run Psychic decks and run into Psychic decks as well once this is released. And hopefully we get one more that we haven't seen that we'll be able to see on that first day. As always, y'all, if you enjoyed the the vibes of this channel and enjoyed this video and more speculation, things like this, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hype up the video and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.